Hey, you guys, welcome to Regardless. I am so excited to have you here. Regardless is the go-to hub for tips and tools to keep you going, babe, reminding you that you've got this. Ayesha,
Sky.
I want to give you a rose because it's your 30th, but these are fake. But
I love fake because they last longer.
I love you.
Thank you.
That's the least that I could do.
This is so sweet. You're
Babes,
so cute.
I literally feel like this is a full circle moment because you were one of the original women in my life moving to LA to introduce me to the world of podcasting and also how you build community. So the fact that you've decided to sit down with me in Regardless to celebrate your 30th is the biggest gift. I love you.
I love you. And it was truly such an honor when you asked. And then I always think that you there's no coincidences, right? You see people in divine timing, and it's just when we saw each other last weekend, it was just flow. We're we got to record this, especially this week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I am so honored to introduce you all to Ayesha Sehra. She is incredible. She is the CEO of Coffee and a Good Vibe. She's also the podcast host of Coffee and a Good Vibe. And she also owns her own agency called Grow the Social. And her team is incredible. I work with them as well. And I'm just in awe by you and everything that you've created.
Oh, well, you're truly a mirror reflection because love you to pieces. Our whole team loves you. We're like, Sky. And when we met you at the last, a lot of them met you at the last event. They were like, she is so magnetic. She's so incredible. And it's so refreshing because I work in this space where we meet talent all the time digitally. And then when you meet them in real life,
it's different.
It's different. And when you meet people who are exactly what they are online and offline, it's amazing. Truly.
Love you. Okay. Let's talk about it. Babes, this is interesting because my audience mostly we're in our 20s, 20 to 29. I have also of course 30-year-olds who listen and above, but you sitting here, a lot of my girlfriends are in their 30s. But I think this moment of turning 30, hitting that next decade, do you feel a shift, physically, emotionally? Tell me what you're experiencing right now.
I think my whole life too, especially moving to LA at 22 and building a business from nothing and moving from Canada and my 20s were so hard of hustling and just building the life that I have, and I'm so grateful and I don't regret any part of it.
Yeah.
But I think I've always, I don't know what it is, but all my life I put 30 on this pedestal.
Yes.
That age for me was when I'm 30. And then this Tuesday it was my 30th birthday. And so I think because of how I framed it up to be, I always knew that age would make me feel a little bit different. And then I will say, having friends that are in their 30s and also now just having that birthday and I did just something really intentional with really dear friends of mine, and I love a prompt. So at dinner, it wasn't just dinner or drinks. No,
hell no.
I went around. I was we're going in on lessons. We're going in on prompts. What are you leaving behind? What was the thing you bringing into this? And I think because it's a new decade.
Yeah.
I also want to say at any age, at any day.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with New Year's. It's oh, new year, new me. No, you can rewrite the narrative, the script at any point in time. But something about the age and the decade shift, I don't know, that really hit a chord more than a new year or anything like that.
Oh, 100%. I mean, you're embarking on a new freaking era.
Yeah. And I think that with a lot of the pressures that we put on ourselves, I think that when you embark on a new era, you're okay, it's you're not bringing this one in. I'm not bringing this into the next decade. And it's crazy because I work with so many different types of clients. And when you hit 40, I heard you really don't give any fucks. If I want to say that, 40 sounds like the next, I think, because I have friends who are 40 and clients that are 40. They're honey, when you hit 40, shit gets even better. So I guess it makes you get excited each.
This is super funny because I feel this is something that I'm even experiencing at 27, where I am not where I thought I would be. And like
in relation to what you
in
thought,
a relation to like where I thought I would be when I was 27, when I was like a lot younger, like whether I was in like high school or even in college, like we look at these numbers like 27 or 30 and we create like kind of like timestamps in our minds, especially being a woman and like having a biological clock. And it's like, how are you managing being where you are right now in relation to like maybe where you thought you would be?
Oh, it's so much of a personal development game. Like, all I am doing is working on my inner game. Because I think as women, as anyone, like growing up, and also it's all relative too. Like in LA, 30 is like, you don't, 30, most people are like not with kids. In another city, state, like it's very different what life is at 30.
Totally.
So it's all relative. But I think the more that we even go into that whole like mental game and play, it's so much of not comparing. Not ever looking at like your side of the lawn and comparing it to another, or like reflecting or saying shoulda, woulda, coulda. Because the thing is, it's like, all we have is here right now, and like you can't regret anything in your past, but all we can do is be our best self every single day to recreate the future that we want. And I really believe that as much as we build our own inner game on every level, confidence, belief, like that's the most attractive, magnetic thing that will attract everything you want in this life. So when I'm thinking about like the birthday, oh my God, I was like, every year is going to be the best year ever. Because we were talking about it at dinner, like, what was your best year? I'm like, you know what? This year will be my best year, because every year I'm growing and I'm a stronger, more evolved, less triggered, more healed version of myself. So every year of life that I live should just continue to be the best year ever, because we're experiencing it as our evolved self.
Okay. Literally walking regardless, because like the pillars of like how I live my life is like, all right, like shit is gonna happen. It's inevitable, right? Like everything that happens around us, we have zero control over that. What we do have control over is our inner game, which I loved how you said that. And like how we respond to those things. And we get to choose on like how we want to show up and like rise to the occasion. And it's like, regardless of turning 30 and like how scary it might feel, like I get to live another year. I get to evolve. I get to grow. And like that is really the essence of what this word means to me.
And especially like, instead of having like fear or being scared of it, like why not get excited? Because it's gonna happen anyway.
It's gonna happen.
So I was like,
regardless.
Why not be so freaking pumped and make it the best and not judge the past? It's really empowering and cool when you approach it that way. But like life is like that when you approach it with that lens.
Okay, so looking at like, I kind of want to like go into different buckets here. Looking at your career, like what have you learned in the past 30 years? Oh my God.
30 years. Like,
that you would tell like your younger sisters like me, like what would you tell me? Like what can I learn from you? Like
I was at the hair salon this week, and the girls are like, when you ask people their ages, and now when I find out like some people are like 23, then now you feel old. But I was talking to them about this, and I was giving them advice, because like being an entrepreneur myself, my 20s, I built everything that I have right now, and I'm still building, and I'm still in this journey, and it's another evolvement. But a lot of the things that I did to build my business that served the little Ayesha does not serve this evolved Ayesha to get to that next level. I really look up to Gabrielle Bernstein, and she talks a lot about it. Like, you know, I remember like, especially when I moved here, I ate so much shit. Like I like hustled and did so many things, like really burnt myself out. And it wasn't even until like this year, being 29, I hit this point where I was like, I can't continue to scale. Like in my 20s, I was building. But now the 30s, I want them to be about scaling. And the scaling is not going to come. I'm not choosing to adopt those things that I did to continue to grow, because there's no longevity and scale in that. So I also just want to preface and say, like throughout that, I'm not judging that little version of myself. I actually have a lot of compassion and love for her, in telling her like she was doing the best she can with all she knew. But you know what? this new Aisha who's evolving into her 30s and beyond, like being that way of hustling and trying to make things happen so much, and not eating meals and having a million coffees and putting other people first, not having enough self-love and boundaries to protect your own energy. All those things that you did, you know, it got you to where you are, but that doesn't have to, like, have compassion, love, don't hate yourself for that. But now be the evolved, wiser version. I think sometimes things come into our movie because it's all meant to be there. It's like we have podcasts like Regardless that people can listen to and learn, and that's why you do what you do. It's like you can accelerate other people's learning curve, but sometimes we have to go through it and learn the lesson a couple times. I'm really big on the universe will give you that lesson 5 times until you learn it, if you don't learn it.
I call that like a spiritual assignment. And if you don't learn the spiritual assignment,
You're gonna get it
she
again.
will be knocking at your door again and again.
It's the same thing with like partners. It's like some people are like, why am I attracting the same type of relationship? It's like until you learn it, it's gonna continue to come. The universe works for us.
I agree.
Always.
I have like body chills because of what you're saying. And it's so true. Like, I think always like looking back, like in retrospect, like we can look at things like, oh, I wish I did that differently, or I wish that I took more care of myself or set healthier boundaries.
I wish I had more balance in my 20s. I'm like, why didn't I do that? Like, I meet like people who like do all these like fun trips. I never took a vacation once in my 20s. I was just like, I would never buy myself. And I realize it's all like my own relationships with like healing my money relationship, healing this, but it's all good. Like forgiving yourself and growing, and then picking who you want to be into this next chapter. It's beautiful.
And it's beautiful to see your relationship to your younger self. And I loved like how you just spoke to her, because I think a lot of people can get stuck in that just shaming themselves and not being able to actually move forward and rise. And like, I can really appreciate you being like, look, is this sustainable? No. Can I pivot right now? Yeah. And do I respect that little girl? And do I love her? And like, yeah, she made a couple of boo-boos here and there, but like also those boo-boos are like what like
brings you to where you are right now.
Yeah.
It's so true, and it's so profound when you realize that, because then you just have love and compassion for it, and also you can't change the past. So why do we?
I have a question for you. How do you think you've been able to like build confidence? Like I think one of the main things that we talk about here is like confidence. And a lot of girls I know can look at you, what you've built in your career, and also who you are and how you walk into a room, whether it's at an event or even in this studio. Like, how do you think you've been able to be so confident? Like, what are your tips to us girls?
Comes back to the relationship with myself, building that. And I keep reflecting on this because when you build this relationship with yourself, you can see it in others when they're not doing the same thing. And I don't know what it is about women, but it's like, maybe it's society, but like, it almost feels like weird and it shouldn't feel weird. It's like getting really comfortable with taking yourself on dates and building that relationship with yourself, like scheduling time with yourself to take yourself to dinner. I love doing that when I'm in New York. It's like going to my favorite restaurant, sitting at a bar, and like getting myself a meal. It's my favorite thing. But like me, probably when I was 22, would never do that. And I think when you are comfortable vibing alone, that is the most attractive thing ever, because all of a sudden you are feeling like a 12 out of 10, whether you are alone or with a partner that brings that out. And we attract what we are. So it's like if we're an empty cup, we're going to be looking for that other person to fill us. And then without them, we feel empty. But when you're full, magnetic, abundant, you have everything you need within you, you're going to attract someone who's also their own full self. And then when you come together, it's like incredible. And it's wild when you do the work, because you could be the most attractive person ever physically, but when you get to know someone and you get to see how they are on the inside, and if they don't have that confidence, it's not attractive. No. It's like the most attractive thing is confidence. Like even as women about men, like I think you would agree, like the most confident thing, like men who are confident without ego, it's so attractive.
Yeah, and I think this is super interesting, like defining what we mean by confidence, because I think that's where a lot of people get confused. Like it's not look at me. I think instead it's like this
knowing your worth and your value, but not having to prove that and say that.
And also holding space for others.
Yeah.
I think
And
it's
an
the
energy
stance.
thing. It's so cool
Yeah.
because I've been really working on doing. I see it in myself when I moved here and I was trying to prove, and it makes me like, you know, when you go to if you go to like a networking event and some people are like, hey, I do this, and I've done this. It's like they feel like they have to prove themselves before anything. That is, to me, like not confident at all, because if you are that and you embody that, it's an energy, you carry it. People, you don't have to say anything, you don't have to prove, because you walk in a room and I can see it with you. It's like your presence, the way you look at someone, the way you carry yourself. Someone might not know what the hell Skylar does, but then they just gravitate towards you because they're just like, this girl, and then they get to know you. But it's so wild how that works.
It is weird. What would you give, like, if there was like concrete advice to someone listening and they were like, okay, like I get all of this and like I want it, but like how do I actually step into that girl?
Yeah.
What would you like tell them? Like what can they do daily to start to embody this like confident being that we're talking about?
I think it starts with self-awareness.
Yeah.
And really creating the space. I would say, let's start even more granular. Every single day, do you have a pocket in your day to chill with yourself? Whether that's in a daily meditation, a morning routine, a solitude walk, just sitting with yourself, taking yourself to a coffee shop and like sitting with a journal. I think we have to get to know ourselves as people. And a lot of people, when you don't know yourself, then you can't even figure out the layers of yourself where maybe you are having, like where you're having your own blocks, or where that needs that nurturing and that growth. And when you create that space with yourself every single day, you can check in with like, hey girl, be your own best friend. What do you need? But when you are self-aware and you're very intuitive with yourself, that's really easy to check in with. So I think first and foremost, like every single day in your calendar, do you have time that is non-negotiable time with yourself? Some people do it in a morning routine, in an evening routine. And that allows you to even have that baseline like time. Do you schedule dates with yourself?
Yes, I need to be better about it, but I love being alone.
I know, me too.
Like seriously, I mean, it's necessary, especially like in today's age when there's so much noise around us all the time.
Yeah.
Like I think it needs to be a non-negotiable as a Gen Zer.
All the answers lie within.
Oh, 100%.
I think it becomes, especially in LA and like living in a big city, we can be moving, especially our personalities, like entrepreneurial, moving a mile a minute, always doing something. I'm always like the queen of like habit stacking, doing a million things. But all the answers, all the clarity comes when I give myself the space. That's why I think I like love my weekends so much. And my team hates it probably because Monday comes and I'm like, or Sunday, I'm like sending emails and they read the Monday and it's like all these new ideas. It's because when I give myself like all that space with no like taking time off my inbox or like completely just like within myself and my own energy, going to sauna, cold plunge, long hikes, like I get so many downloads. And it unlocks like my next thing.
Okay, so question for you. This is a massive like learning opportunity for me. So you work Monday through Friday, and then do you take Saturday and Sundays off?
Okay, so because I am an entrepreneur, I was literally just talking about it with my client.
I
never truly take a day off because
that's what I'm saying. Like,
it's all interconnected.
Okay,
like I feel like every weekend I love to work. I love it. But like that's why I do what I do. And that's why I love having my own business, because you couldn't pay me enough money to like work for someone else, because I just love what I do. And it's like you have to when you have your own business, because entrepreneur life is not easy. You really do have to be obsessed with it. But I also don't expect other people, like having a team and hiring, I have to really respect the schedules. And the 5 p.m. everyone's off. Like I get it. But as the founder, for me, I get a lot of creative buzz on the weekend. Like I will have this motivation where, especially on Sundays, my favorite thing to do is like go to Soho House on a Sunday when everyone is like snoozing and have myself a vibe and get so much shit done and reduce my Monday is that much better.
Wow.
But I think I'm really big on inspired action. Like I also am learning, when to take rest and actually turn off, because I do think that's important. But it all comes down to that self-awareness and knowing yourself. Like, I think that on the weekends, I definitely take a lot of time to also give back to myself. And when I feel inspired, when I feel like I want to go, okay, I want to go ham on like some strategy work on the agency, or work on a coffee and a good vibe, new event proposal and mood board, and build out a whole concept, I ride those waves.
Yeah.
It's like, and taking inspired action is so profound.
I love that word. And I'm curious, like, so I'm really interested in like understanding the way that you operate in this space, because for me, especially, just I think for everyone listening, with access to social media, work, just all of the noise that we're constantly inundated by, how do you like, are you like, I'm not going to touch anything on Saturdays, or like, because I know you said that you try not to like look at your inbox. Like, how do you create those boundaries for yourself to be successful and resilient when the week comes? Like,
totally.
Older sis vibes here.
I'm going through this right now because I'm learning like what I was doing with always being on my inbox is not fruitful, because when Monday comes, sometimes you are burnt out.
That's what I've been feeling recently.
So I think having those boundaries with work are very important. So now on the weekends, I'm very big on like my intentional lists, and I will plan everything out. So when I feel overwhelmed, I will actually like put it in my Google Calendar on particular days of the week, like when I'm doing set action items. And I know how to structure my calendar really well, and I have a whole thing on how I do that. But on the weekends, I will, if I did have a crazy week with like events and a lot of in-person meetings, then maybe I will schedule a work block on the weekend. But then after that work block, and I'll be particular with having an agency and doing other client work, if I'm doing that, it's set in the calendar, and I'll try to respect that boundary. Yeah. I also always have my phone on do not disturb. Yeah. That's a thing that I live by, swear by. So you don't distract yourself by like clicking on everything. Yes. I'm big on habit stacking. So on the weekend, sometimes I will go do a hour treadmill habit stack block, and I will do my inbox, but then after that I will respect that. I think it's really big. I think it really goes back to like, you know, knowing what you can handle, and also doing that work when you are revived too. Because on the weekend, you do have to also honor your rest so you aren't really burnt out. I've been learning, like I do that a lot. I will go down like, I want to work all day, and then Monday comes and I'm like, why did I feel like I didn't have a break? Yeah. But when you're doing work you are passionate about, you actually do want to work. Like, for example, on the weekends, I will switch the pillar and work on like the coffee and a good vibe side of the business. Yep. And maybe it does involve like setting up some like brand proposals for how we want to activate and integrate brands into the podcast brand. Or maybe it's our next event that is with a big partner, and it has a theme, and it's in the fall, and it's for a certain number of people. And there's so many work layers around that, with like PR pitching of certain outlets and speakers and brands to get involved in those events. But I think because Coffee and a Good Vibe is such an extension of me, I'm very hyped to do it.
Totally. And like, I love how you kind of use the weekends, like where there is a little bit more of that like high vibrating like energy to work on events.
Like if you're speaking, like you do your in-person events. Like when I do my in-person events, I'm always thinking about, okay, that panel or that podcast that I'm doing, and that intro, and how I want my audience to feel, and what I want the women in that room to go away with. So on the weekend, I love to use that kind of energy to channel like, what is this talk? Because for me, when I'm writing a talk, I have to be very inspired. It almost comes to me on a hike, or it comes to me in the sauna, or with my journal. And during the week, I'm very like on, like, give me a brand call, let me close a deal. I gotta save those activities for then.
I love all of this because I think this is at like the foundation of all of this is giving like know thyself. Like you really have to know,
when you
yourself.
Know yourself, you can dominate on another level with your schedule and everything.
Absolutely. And even when as it relates to relationships, like I think this is a completely other arm that we can maybe like step into together right now. But like looking at your 30s of like, your 20s of like learning all of these little tidbits and tips for us. It's like how, I guess, taking this like essence of like knowing yourself and knowing the environments and the times that you best operate and you can best think, like that also relates like with dating and relationships. Like looking at your relationships, whether it's friendships or dating, like what are the top things that you've learned about yourself through your relationships in your 20s?
You know, the biggest thing that has been the theme of my late 20s.
Give it to me.
Is the people pleasing tendencies in myself that do not serve. And I think as I'm working through that and establishing boundaries and no longer people pleasing, because that comes from like a wound within myself and like the little Ayesha who always wanted to fit in growing up, I've learned, you know, you're only one person and sometimes you can't respond to everyone. I'm so grateful. Like the business is at a point and the events have grown where I'm grateful that I'm at a point where it's like I can't respond to everyone.
Yeah.
And I have to give myself compassion and love for not being able to, because when you can't be a yes queen to everyone anymore because then you're a no to yourself, yeah, you might not make everyone happy. And that's okay, because the people who really love you are always gonna have your back and respect. And you, when you know yourself and when you are really clear with who you are, you actually can check in with your body and how your nervous system feels when you're around these people. So I've been doing a gut check whenever I'm around certain people.
Wow.
And being like, okay, how did I leave them? Did I leave a filled cup, energized? There's always those people, like when I'm around you, like after I saw you at the event, we were both so energized. But then there's some people that you maybe go for coffee with or hang out with,
And it's like,
or you're at a dinner with a bunch of people and you're like, why do I feel depleted? Those people, especially as we on this theme, in my 30s, no. We don't have time to make space.
Why is it that we wait until our 30s to respect those parts of ourselves?
I think also if you are 25 listening and you could do this, amazing.
Yeah.
Like, wise.
Totally.
But I do feel, and I was talking to a lot of people about this, I think it's just because age. Like you realize, oh, like I'm getting older. Life is not getting any longer. And I was with my client before this.
Yeah.
And Dr. Janelle, and she's in her 40s. And she was like saying so many wise things to me about what she would tell herself when she was 30. And I was getting so much inspiration from it because there's so many things that I'm currently going through that I'm like, wow, I really need to listen, like about how I've been with myself in my 20s with food and restriction and how I love to kill myself in the gym. And I'm like, you know what? You have to honor how you feel. And maybe you actually enjoying and having like the ice cream and pizza, like, because I'm very regimented. I'm like, I can't have that at this time. But maybe you have to just choose the vacation to let yourself go, because that's so good for your mental health, and life is not.
Babe, life is so short.
So I think it's the age thing.
So short. And also, like, why not? Like, you're not killing yourself. Like, it's healthy. You're allowed to. Like, it's not, and like, I know you. It's not like you're going to be like, you deserve it.
I feel like it's like the personalities, like myself, we're very hard on ourselves. So having more balance does so much good. Like so much good. And also yourself in 10 years is not going to remember.
No.
Like the cake you ate when you were like on this like regimented routine on a Wednesday, you know, it's like letting yourself live, because those are the moments that you're going to remember, not the restricting ones.
Yeah.
And I think it's about living your happiest.
I'm really proud of you.
It's also crazy too. Like when I look at women who are older than myself and are so inspiring, like Melissa Woodhealth, for example. She talks about her journey so openly, and the more she chose herself and honored herself and didn't restrict herself, like intuitively listened to her body from a workout level, from a diet level, from a joy level, from a business level, life has only rewarded her with blessings. When you choose you, everything chooses you too.
I agree. I mean, even like my personal journey with like food and self-love, oh my gosh, like the girl in college who would just put so much shame and would honestly torture myself by not allowing myself to nourish myself. Like it's all nourishment, right? And I couldn't agree more. I think once you start to choose yourself and you start to invest into the longevity of your life, that's when things start to change. And it's so much easier said than done. But like, I feel like I'm living a lot more of a just blissful and juicy life because like I allow myself to live.
And it's so much like, if you're listening to this and you're like myself, sometimes people say, oh, they woke up one day. I listen to a lot of different like people and I love my podcast. And some people wake up one day and they flip a switch. Like they have something in their life that happens and they're like, no more. And they flip a switch, which is beautiful. And some people, I don't know, what I've been really going through is like baby steps. Yeah. Like, okay, today, let's lean into that. Like this morning I was like, okay, I always wake up and like love to do an intense workout. And I've been having such a crazy week with like a lot of social stuff too with my birthday. And I'm like, wow, I think I could really benefit on every level from like sleeping in an extra hour and then doing like I did like a Sammy Clark workout. I saved so much time.
Yes.
And then going on with my like long day. And I just know, like my higher self knew, like taking that more slower approach to the day is going to serve you on every level because you're going to be more grounded. You're going to be more calm. Yeah, you're going to be more rested, present. Your inflammation, like on even a body level, when you're not as stressed as a female, you're less inflamed. Yep. You're just on every level. Your appetite's regulated in so many ways. But then sometimes for me, for going so many years of being the other way, I like neglect that. So for me, I'm like, okay, baby steps.
I'm so
like
proud of
you.
you.
1 day, 2 days. So but some people, they can just switch it all.
I mean, even for me today, I'm like, I didn't have enough time to work out, and I literally just took myself on like a walk.
Yeah,
and I strolled with no like detached from my phone.
And isn't that so much more self-serving too? Than sometimes I go to these like morning workout classes that are like so stressful because in LA their traffic's unpredictable and you're trying to get there for a certain time. Then if you're late, you're not in the class and you gotta.
And they're like pretty intense.
And then you get in there and then you're like, you get a good workout, but then you're like, damn, I'm kind of stressed.
Exactly.
And then that was extra stress on top of like,
and that's how you're starting the day.
Is stacked to the brim. So then it's like on top of being like really on all day, then
you're depleted.
All these things.
I know.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So sometimes that morning walk for 20 minutes, that with no phone, is actually on so many levels serving you.
So I'm hearing that like you're really like going into 30. It's really about putting yourself first, like listening to what you're needing and also being like, okay, I know that's going to change and that can, and it's allowed to evolve and look different.
Mm-hmm. And taking, and on that, it's so beautifully said. It's like, you know, what's in my journal, Sky. It's like you like are reading my journal. One of the tips I would say that's really helping with that is affirmations. I like, those are the themes for sure. You nailed them, that I'm like really going in with the 30s. Like I have all these affirmations around what I'm working through. So for example, in my early 20s, moving from Canada and moving to the States with like literally nothing, like having no business and having to like pay rent, but like
so stressful. Like like talk about being in the unknown.
I had a lot of money things to work through of like, money flows to me easy, money's just energy, like money, if you're in an abundant energy, you're in a vibrational match of money. But when you're in a scarcity energy mentality, you're not attracting that. So it is in our duty, in our highest good, to really heal that, right? So I think that whatever you are working on, pick one thing and then create affirmations around that, because it's all the reprogramming of your subconscious and your belief system. So I have actually in my journal, on my fridge, I put them everywhere. Like right now I'm really trying to get better at taking gaps in my day, because having an agency, I think I can go all day, especially when I'm in New York. I'll go all day, not eat all day, just have like 5 coffee, and like I will just forget because I'm just so on autopilot. But now I have like reminders in my phone. I put reminders in my office, like, you are your highest priority, take a break. Like when you're a filled cup, you can serve others to your highest and best capacity. Like little affirmations that really hit for me, so I remember. And I'm not even joking, like this is free to do this. Like you write out affirmations, you tape them everywhere. It actually does shift, because I did that with all my money stuff when I moved to LA, and I couldn't even like, I remember I was like, I need to hire a coach. I'm like, oh, but girl,
You
can
have
even
your
pay rent.
internal coach.
Yeah.
Can you please send me the money like after I
need to
that's
they were so good, and
Yeah.
they really shifted for me a lot of things. And it's such a gentle way to do it, but you need to, it's so important, the power of your environment,
Yep.
the things that you surround yourself with, but also the mental chatter that you have in your head.
100%.
And then every single time you want to respond to something or react, you take a breath. you don't, because I think that when we're in our flow and we go back to our baseline, right? Of like scarcity energy or guilt or why did you eat that sky?
I know.
But when you take a pause and you talk to you talk from your higher self, it shifts things.
Okay, question for you.
Yes.
If you could go back to like your I don't know, any age, I guess, even if your 29-year-old self, which was a couple of days ago, what would you tell her?
I would tell her that I would give her a big hug and tell her that she's doing the best that she can, and her best is so good enough, and she is so loved, and everything that she wants is going to happen if she continues to love and pour on herself first. And I need that advice like now. Like this is literally.
I literally have the chills. Yeah, I needed to hear that too. We put a lot of pressure on ourselves being women, and it can feel really lonely, but I think we can find like just such gratitude and love that like we have a best friend, we have a partner, we have a daughter, a sister, all of it within us that we can tap into at any moment, like regardless of who's around us. Like it starts here.
And sometimes not everyone has that. Like I know you have such a beautiful relationship with your mom, and it's so amazing how I was like, I love that, because my mom and I are so close, and it's so beautiful to see that. But not everyone has it. And if you feel alone, then you're not alone, because you always have yourself.
Exactly. And like that's why I say that, because I know that is a privilege, and not everyone has like the community that we have. But I think it's all about, really, I mean, the most important relationship you're going to have in this lifetime is with you. And like you have resources like me, like you, like regardless, like coffee with the good vibe, the events, like we're here. You don't have to do this alone. And like that's why, like, to me, you were like an older sister. So the fact like you're coming in and like spilling the tea and the secrets with us, like this is what it's about.
Yeah, I love
like you're a mirror of me, and
you're so tapped into your audience. That's what I love too, because when you know the girls on the other side, then you can really serve them because you know how to speak to them.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes like working in this space with like the podcast space, like sometimes people lose sight of like who they're speaking to, and then the messaging is, even if the vision's beautiful, it doesn't hit.
I think it's easy for me because like my audience is like me. Like I'm so in the trenches with my audience that, I mean, hopefully I'm like making sense to everyone. But like it is interesting. Like I just get it. I get the gap, and I get like the suffering because like I'm living it with everyone, and so are you.
And I think the universe, it's a beautiful thing that the universe is giving you. I know like some of the things that you've been through.
Yeah.
I know we haven't gotten in on it, but I know just some of the things you've shared with me that you've been through that has not been sunshine, rainbows, and butterflies. But to know that it's a part of your movie because your purpose is so much greater, and it's in your movie because you're healing from it and you're sharing that so vulnerably and beautifully, and it's helping so many people.
I love you.
All the greats, they all have.
And I love that you call it a movie. I love that because it kind of allows you to like step back from the movie and be like, okay, that was a character who came in. Yeah. Okay, he exited. Okay, that's why he exited.
Yeah.
So another amazing, awesome character can come in. Like everything in life, characters, and we get to control like how we want to show up and how we want to respond in our movie. Like that's on us, regardless of what's happening.
Amen. The name, it's so good.
It's a quick pivot. Okay, what is one thing, if you could write a love letter to your 30s and like a cute little summary, what would that be?
A love letter to my future?
To your future self, like this like next era that you're about to embark on. Like it can be like, what would you want to tell her? Like if you could just give her a little love note, what would it be?
Yes. Okay. This is the era where you are going to say yes to so many things that you would have said no to in the past. You're going to travel, you're going to love, you're going to open your heart up and not be so closed off to things. You're going to take risks, you're going to put yourself first. And when you do that, I'm just so excited to watch the 30s take off for you.
Babe,
I'm so excited for the 30s.
This era is going to be epic. Epic.
I'm so excited.
Even if you didn't do anything, it's already epic. You just sit there.
I'm here.
Like literally, regardless. Okay, last question. And I always like to do this for every single episode, but regardless of blank, insert problem, I am blank.
Regardless of the uncertainties and adversities that continue to come your way in your entrepreneurial path and the pivots of having a business and having to make adjustments, you're always going to have more than enough in every way. Financially, because sometimes I worry about that with having a team and always being like, oh, we're pivoting, but I have salaries to pay.
Yeah.
Or just always trust, because the universe is always guiding you. And sometimes, actually no, all the time, we have a plan, but the plan is higher. It's better. It's greater than you could ever have imagined.
I love you.
I love you.
Happy birthday!
Thank you. You're so sweet.
New episodes drop every Monday on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube.